Hi everybody, it's Eric. It's week 5 of the CVL project. I'm here representing the Clef-er musicians and here to answer Kathy's question. What is your opinion of the online presence of music educators and what are some pros and cons? I came up with quite a few pros and really only one con. There was basically only one glaring con, but we'll get to that eventually. This is an interesting question because I feel like it's a recent topic of discussion in the 21st century America, specifically in 2014. Because up until about a decade ago, maybe not even that long of time, I'm not really sure. But students' educational life, their academic life, had a lot to do with paper and books and writing and very concrete and physical things. Uh, but today, it seems like a lot of it is online. You submit things online, you get your assignment online, you print off your syllabus from online, etc. So I feel like it is essential that music educators do have an online presence. I don't think there would be anyone really who would argue that point that um, at least music educators should be online. Now, the way they conduct themselves is an entirely different topic. And so, one of the pros being that the first pro that comes to mind is just the fact that it's so much easier to communicate with students if you have an online presence. Um, even if it's something that's not through a school, if it's like Facebook or Twitter, um, you're able, especially specifically with the case of Twitter, you're able to give many frequent updates of logistical things, classes, grades, various destinations that the students might need to be. I'm thinking specifically of marching band. I know that in my experience, Barry Hauser used Twitter and his Facebook quite frequently to give updates to students about where rehearsal will be and where you know just the direction that the marching band was going in. And so for Professor Hauser's case, um, an online presence was quite essential actually. And some people might actually use him as an example of what not to do with one's Facebook account. Professor Hauser is very open about his personal life, not just online. In real life, um, he's very proud to show off his children, um, as well as his entire family, which is really nice to me. I mean, some people might think that it skews their perspective of him. It might loosen the teacher student relationship, but quite honestly, I don't really have much of an issue with it. I mean, I respect him enough as a teacher to not think that just the fact that he likes to show off his kids, that doesn't in any way dilute the his presence or his authority that he brings with himself to the field or even to some of his ensembles. Um, Another really big pro of having an online presence is the ability to deepen the overall educational experience that you're giving to your students through online programs and applications. Um, a good example would be this class, Intro to Music Technology, that is making us do this CVL assignment. Um, this assignment itself, the fact that we're making these collaborative videos on YouTube um, is something that is unheard of. But it's amazing because we're able, through YouTube, through technology, we're able to figure out other people's opinions on things. We're able to get new perspectives that in the past might have had to be learned through various life experiences much further down the road. So the things that we're learning now, just as students at the age of 19, 20, 21, or whatever, in the past might have had to be learned maybe even like 5 years into their career. Sometimes, the hard way, whatever way that might be. So it is absolutely an advantage. YouTube being a good example for our purposes. There's also just a plethora of applications and online resources for music educators everywhere. Another one that we're using that everyone's familiar with is Audacity. Um, that is not necessarily, that doesn't really have much to do with the online presence of a teacher, but seeing as how teachers use it, I suppose it's part of their presence. But going on to a con. Um, Social media, of course, can skew students' perceptions of the teacher. Um, as I brought up, the case of Barry Hauser, perhaps the fact that he is very open about his family life might be a little, what's the word I'm looking for? Might be a little uncomfortable, uncomfortable for students. Um, quite honestly, I'm not really sure how that's possible because in today's day and age, we are very open about ourselves on Facebook. Facebook almost demands for us to be open about ourselves. But, of course, there are some people out there who just don't want to know. Either they don't want to know anything about their teacher's life, or um, they if they do know something about it, then it makes them uncomfortable. So, of course, in very rare cases, you might be able to, you know, perhaps a photo appears on a band director's page that shows them drinking or, maybe doing something stupid. Like I said, this is a pretty rare case, but I'm sure it's happened before. I've never heard of it happening before, but I'm sure it's happened out there. And of course, that could get the music teacher in very big trouble. And it doesn't just have to be a photo of him or her doing something incredibly stupid. It could be maybe a status that they put that, um, bothers some students or maybe even bothers some teachers, perhaps other teachers or parents of the students. Perhaps the parents are friends with that teacher and they don't like what they see on that person's Facebook account and it gets them in trouble. So, um, I think that as long as the teacher is careful with the way they conduct themselves on social media, then it can be a huge advantage um, in progressing a student's educational experience. Um, so yeah, I'm kind of running out of words here, but in general, I think that the pros far outweigh the cons. As long as the teacher is careful about the content that they post, I can't wait to see what the future has in store for technology as well as educators and how they use it. Okay, well I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you guys next week.